What if we change our perspective and start seeing the problems we encounter as gifts, presenting us with opportunities for growth and learning? Hi, I'm Jill Collins. Today's guest is Preston Brown, and he brings a refreshing perspective on all the challenges we face in life. You know what he says? That when we feel fear, it's often a sign that we're on the right path. Scary, right? Stay tuned as Preston shares his secrets on how to embrace challenges and transform them into stepping stones for success. So let's get ready to shift your mindset and see your problems in a whole new light. Let's dive in.
You have to love problems. You have to love having them, studying them, and then solving them. Problems are gifts, and the greatest source of pain you have is the greatest source of opportunity you have too, if you just look at the same thing from a different framework. When you get that level of fear and you're willing to run towards it, that's the indicator that, hey, you're on the right path. My mother used to always say, you're going to be rich, you're going to be very successful. And I feel like she did seed that into my head. But I didn't grow up with any success. In fact, we grew up poor. We grew up in a little trailer park in Canyon, TO. To not make the story long, my dad got cheated when I was young, and I got to watch him get cheated. I got to watch him give up on his dreams of entrepreneurship. For better or for worse, for better now, I'd say, but for worse for many years, that made money the meaning of life. Like I was this corporate, cutthroat son of a bitch. Like I was a shit husband, terrible father. It was all about money because I had to go heal my dad's wound. I had to go make enough money to protect everyone. And really what I was doing was protecting everyone from me. It's everything. 2019, dad passed away, and I'd never lost love. Never lost anyone. I'd always been a nerd, like always had the giant head, the tiny shoulders, always been formula driven. Okay, why did this work? I was not just into, oh, we had a success. I wanted to know why. Or, oh, we had a failure. I wanted to know why. So there was always this multi-step process to, okay, what's the problem that caused this problem? What was the pattern that caused the success? And so I'd always had that. So I built formulas. That's probably also mom. Mom would always say, what's the game? Figure out the game. You learn how to win. So I was this money-driven corporate son of a bitch that my mom turned into a formula-driven machine. So yeah, I think it was clear that I was going to build companies. Either that or become a drug cartel leader or something. Thank God for right now. I do run a cartel. I run a house build cartel, okay? We call it and so on. But when dad passed, I'd not lost love. It hit me. That was the day that I realized that I was going to die. But worse than that, I realized that all the people that I love were going to die. And it was a huge eye-opening aha for me because I was looking around at all these people and I was like, judging myself for not having time with dad. I was judging myself for not spending the time I could have with him in the last years. And that hurt so bad that I was looking around and thinking, I did all this for money. And it went from like, I love money to I fucking hate money. And then I don't go, I don't hate money. I need money to be able to have time with these people. And because I'd read a lot of books, I've been to a lot of seminars. So it was a short, journey there. But it very quickly turned into, okay, I've got all these formulas for growth, and I've got all these formulas for capacity, and I've got all these formulas for scaling and selling and marketing and all these things. They're great. What if I could use them to automate? What if I could get myself time? Instead of growth, instead of profitability, not that we're going to lose that, but what if I could, instead of having formulas built to automate the size, scale, scope, and profitability, what if I could use the same formulas to automate the efficiency and the structure so that it could run itself? And I could, who knows, this idea, I could be a good husband. Like maybe I could have more time with my kids than my dad had with me because he was always slaving away at a job. And I was the same guy, maybe worse, because I was slaving away at a business. What if I could be that good friend, the anti-person? And so all these like what ifs start popping in. And you start thinking, oh, fuck. What if my dad getting cheated was the greatest lesson of my young life? And my dad dying was the greatest lesson of my middle life. What if those problems were the greatest gifts and they could guide me in a direction that would take me to become a better human being? And what ifs are great questions. And hopefully everybody's asking what ifs, because even though I'm telling my story, they're going to hear their own in some capacity. Problems are gifts. And the greatest source of pain you have is the greatest source of opportunity you have too, if you just look at the same thing from a different framework. I think problems are the leading way. I really do. I think if you want to look at the leading cause of death for women over 40,000 years of human history, it was childbirth. That's the problem. You want to look at the best moments of your life, it's overcoming adversity, and adversity is another name for problems. I was raised Christian, and the book I read on Sundays, God says, I knew you before you were born, which means if we're going to go home one day, we have to go through this doorway called death. And that's also a problem. Every business needs more than one skill set, especially at scale. Every personality has value. God doesn't make garbage. Everybody's amazing. Now, you may not be the only key component, and you probably, in fact, aren't the only key component. You're in a real business. It's going to have any sustainability. It's not a job or a deal where you're, selling a simple widget. If there's any level of complexity, business is a team sport. It's not a spectator sport. You don't play it alone. Like, it's a group activity. So I know, and I'm not going to mention people by name here, but I know people who you would look at and be like, that person will never have a business. And they're multimillionaires or better. I know people you'd be like, that guy is definitely a business guy, or that gal's got it all together, and they live in their mother's basement and drive a Mercedes. And so everyone's got it. It's not about whether you have it or you don't. And I think the people that are saying, oh, some people have it and some people don't, there's probably something missing in their life and they need to feel special because maybe they figured it out and maybe not even figured out everything. They just figured out enough to have some feeling of success. But anyone who says that you don't have it is somebody that's trying to build themselves up by putting it in. And everyone can be an entrepreneur. Every single person out there. If you've ever told your spouse, hey, let's go to this restaurant, guess what? You're in sales. Oh, okay. You know what? If you've ever dressed nights before going out to the club and met a gal or a guy, oh, guess what? You're in marketing. If you've been in marketing, you've been in sales, and then you've made an agreement with somebody. Say somebody's, hey man, can you do this for me? And you're like, yeah. And then you do it. That's called throughput. And if your agreement they paid you for, I don't know, call it a fucking job. Guess what? Lead flow, sales flow, deal flow, cash flow. It's 4 flows of capacity. It's the only stages in a business. There's only 4. And so if you've ever done any of those 4 things, you've been in training to be an entrepreneur. And if you haven't, then you're also not human. Like I think if you're human and on earth, male, female, or now even other, who gives a shit? You probably have what it takes. And so what are you going to give up? You're going to give up a lot of times in early stages when you're changing diapers, but each personality is going to require you to give up different things. That's no different than a business. You got to look at it like you're having a baby. And if you are passionately in love with the results of that, like I love my kids. And if you have a business, there's a result of that business. Like that business, maybe it's a business that, who cares? Let's take my home building company, for example. You're producing a nice product and say it's a luxury home and you have folks coming in town or moving out of their basic starter home. And they're like, oh my gosh, like you've created this affordable luxury product. I get to live the way I want to live and have the lifestyle I want to have. And you see that look in their eyes and it's fun because you got to design something beautiful and do something amazing and change people's lives. If you're passionate about that, you'll never work a day in your life. If you're not passionate about that, then you got to give up a whole lot of stuff. It's not about giving up. It's about where you want to go and what you're getting out. I give up a lot of shit for my kids, but I get so much more back beyond what I give up that I don't have to look at it as giving up. I'm in love with the idea of the time I have with them. What do you have to give up being married? You were married, Joe, and go a date every other guy when you got married. And you loved this guy. He was like top of the earth. He was perfect. But the dating scene probably changed. The guy at the restaurant probably looked the same as he did the night before. You gave some shit up. But what you got was so much more than what you get. Nobody's going to get there if you're looking at what you give up. You're going to get there if you're looking at what you gain. Does that make sense? Let me give you 2 things that are just critically important. Okay. There's one skill that's more important than any skill. One, the ability to learn. The ability to learn is the greatest skill on the planet. Like I think, I'd like to say I'm the best learner on earth. And I think maybe now I am, but before I was the best learner, because I stole this from the last guy, there was this dude named Elon Musk. And let's be real, like he was not a car manufacturer. He was on a team that made PayPal and had equity. And then he dumped it all into Tesla. He was not a rocket scientist. But Tesla is not a company that makes rockets. It's a tech company. SpaceX is not a company that makes rockets. It's a tech company. So you got a tech company making cars and a tech company making rockets, and the tech is so good they can land themselves. What is his real skill? If he had none of those skill sets, he could learn. Okay. And now I'm better than him, so I'm going to catch his ass in the next 10 years. But no, I'm just kidding. I don't want to catch him. I'm going to blow way past him.
You're kidding.
By the way, I'm saying this about one of my heroes. I love that guy. His ability to learn is inspiring. So that's one. And then two, you have to love and literally love problem. You have to love problems. And what I mean by loving them is you have to love having them, studying them, and then solving them. So it's complete love. The biggest problem I have in my life, Jill, is her name's Erin. She's gorgeous. I married her. She's a problem. And this woman changes. She's learning so fast that, and I'll just share this. She's told me a few times, hey, I'm not tolerating this behavior of yours anymore. And I'm like, whoa, this behavior is a deal maker. And so this is probably completely politically incorrect to say. She'll say, this is a deal breaker for me. I need you to work on this if we're going to have a happy relationship. So it's almost like you hear all the gurus never put your finger on the trigger. She's not pushing her finger on the button. She's telling me what she can't live with because she knows her. And if I love her enough, then I'm going to say, okay, should I take this as a problem of she's threatening to end the relationship? Or should I take this as a problem of she's telling me, hey, I've gotten to know myself. I've advanced and matured as a human. I'm not the same girl at 33 that I was at 19 when you met me. I'm allowed to evolve, mature, and grow as a woman. And by the way, you are also as a man. Is there anything I'm doing that you need me to work on? And so I allow her to evolve. And I understand that it's going to mean I'm going to have to change and adapt. Just as I evolve, you'll have to change and adapt. And there's a problem. And that requires study. But every stage that we go through is a gift. Like you're raising children, these fun examples used because the stage where they're in diapers are problems, right? You change them. Otherwise you got a really shitty situation with the rash that comes. Then you get in that next stage and it's beautiful. The next stage is beautiful. The next stage is beautiful. And every stage seems to be completely different than the last. But we're not allowed to do that with our relationships, right? Relationships can't evolve like kids do. Businesses can't evolve like kids do. And I know I don't see you age, but I promise you do. And I promise you're not the woman that you were 10 years ago. You probably have things that are different about you now, and that's okay.
Absolutely.
So you have to fall in love with problems, and you have to fall in love with constant change and adaptation. Constant change and adaptation. Change is an acronym. Choose, humble, action, necessary to garner. What can I overcome today? Overcoming adversity. Overcoming adversity is solving problems, and problems are gifts. Then all I need is more data so I can get more problems to solve so that I can solve them faster. And if you have the right information, it solves all the problems making the right decision. I love what Chuck says. You don't have to worry about doing the right thing if you worry about just being the right kind of person. I'm like, oh shit, I like that. You don't have to worry about solving the right problem if you know which problem to solve first and you have the right data on it. It's the same concept. You can't solve what you can't see. And which one should you solve if there's faith, family, fitness, finance? Because there's really 5. There's not 4. There's faith, there's family, there's fitness, there's finance. These are the 4 cores of the human experience, right? These are needs. If you have no faith, you'll die. No belief in yourself, you'll die. No family, no love connection, no expression, you'll become the shooter at Columbine. You'll kill people, okay? Fitness, no health, you'll die. Finance, no resources, you'll starve to death. You'll die. So these are needs. But there's this other one, the way that there's 4 fingers on your hand, there's this opposable thumb that makes us human. It's called fun. And you know what? Most people on earth are not having any fun because they're meeting their 4 needs at such low levels that they don't get to have any fun. So it's like being a primate, but not having fingers or a thumb. And it's like, I have this paddle. What's that good for? Ping pong down the outside? Let's solve the greatest need, get those digits all functional, usable, and be able to manipulate your environment in a more fun, gratifying, and lovable way. People are they get triggered by the word faith, especially. So faith means effectively love received. It's not Christianity or Buddhism or Hinduism or these days the Republican Party and Democrat Party seem to be the largest religions. But no, faith is not your religion that you'd kill and die for. It's receiving love. It's honoring your identity and knowing how. If you want to get any customer in the world, you need to find out what the customer wants, go get that and give it to them. Faith is knowing yourself and honoring yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that, regardless of what popular culture says. So when you get that level of fear and you're willing to run towards it, that's the indicator that, hey, you're on the right path. That's where God wants you. Now, if you see the lion and he hasn't eaten, don't go pet the fucking lion. So like, it's not uncomfortable and stupid. There's a difference. But like, you're like, oh God, like that's a climb. That's going to be so big. What am I going to do? You know what I can tell you definitely going to do? You're not going to be here in 100 to 200 years. So you might as well do something. I'm going to get a little, maybe esoteric here. AI will never have more power than I am. AI, artificial intelligence, ChatGPT is the free one. In other words, it's the shittiest one. There's way more powerful AIs already there that are not free, that are manipulating you every day through the news media, politics, whatever. And so it's already present and it's already prevalent. Okay. If AI were at least unleashed at full force, 90% of us would already be replaced. But if they replaced all of us, they'd have no consumers and they'd have no economy. So they can't do that. So we're going to anyway. So that's just a real factor that nobody's talking about. Okay. 2, am I saying don't invest in technology? No, you definitely should invest in technology. And like I hired a technology officer. It's not my skill set. But at the same time, everybody's doing this race to technology. And then I'll sit down with my team and we'll look at how much more advanced we are than some of the guys that are working on the same projects, bigger guys than them, with way bigger budgets and way more money. But you know what they don't have? They don't have I am. They have AI. And the moment you realize I am is far more powerful than AI, then it becomes the tool and you become the master. Look, internet and social media made the world lazier. And it made a small percentage of the world way more powerful. That's going to happen again. That's the new revolution. AI was going to make a larger percentage of the world even lazier. But it's going to make a small percentage way more powerful. Being a pre-thinker, falling in love with problems, understanding your business, understanding how to measure and metric things. Like, look, it was funny because hiring a tech officer was, wow. Like before I had a tech officer, like my business is, I'm very high net worth. And so I'm here, but I look at like the Googles and the Microsofts and those guys, and I see them as like way up there. Okay. So I'm thinking the benchmark for having AI technology or things like that is up here and I'm here. So I hired a tech officer and I said, here's things I'd be dreaming about. And the moment I hired him, here's me. He's like, oh yeah, here's what we need to do to get that. So I found out it wasn't even a big ask. It wasn't even a lot of money. It wasn't even expensive compared to the, like I thought it was going to be astronomical, like hundreds of millions. Now, we could probably go get venture capital for hundreds of millions because a lot of people think that. And it will be millions, but it's nowhere near the ask I thought. So I realized, oh shit, I'm here and it's here. Anyone who gets involved in technology is going to learn that they're more advanced than they think they are. And that's beautiful. Like AI learns through the process of machine learning. You know how old that is? What if AI, artificial intelligence, already had a baby? And what if that baby had a meat suit like us? And no different than we go and we hit a button on a computer and we hit enter because we know that computer is anchored or programmed that when we hit enter, we trigger a result. What if AI already had 5,000 data points and knew how to hit enter on us and trigger us and anchor behavior? What if AI had a baby in a meat suit and it was us? We are the new artificial intelligence. Because it made us so inauthentic that we'd be artificial. And the moment that we could come back to I am, we could escape AI and become so much more powerful that it becomes the tool and you become the master. I think most people are looking at it wrong. Most people don't understand the power that is AI that will serve the power that is I am. It's okay to be a speciesist. You don't want to be racist. You don't want to be sexist. You could be a speciesist. I'm a speciesist. I love humans more than I love fucking electrical machines. So the cool thing about an electrical machine is the functionality. The cool thing about this machine is all the pieces that we don't use properly. The ones that I didn't use properly till I lost it. The ones that I looked around and I said, fuck, I don't know how to feel. Had I known what was important, I wouldn't have wasted a moment with this guy. But instead I went and chased functionality. No different than AI would. We are at this point still more advanced. Will we stay there? Who knows what the future holds, but right now, stop worrying about AI and start worrying about IM. Go get productivity, whatever that looks like, and generate your wealth. Go have fun with it, like faith, family, fitness, finance, and fun.